Hey, welcome to a new video. Today is day 2 of TAS, but we're not at TAS. We are actually at the Nissan collection, the Heritage collection in Zama. We've been invited by Nissan because they're actually holding a nice event for all the international guests, kind of to celebrate Nismo's 40th anniversary, which happened last year, but also to show all the cars, to the guys that are into Nissans and want to cover stuff in Japan. And I thought I'd come here again because I'm never going to turn down an opportunity to head in here and check out the craziness that made Nissan so special, from all the way post-war to what they are today. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff to look at. We've done a video on this place before, but like I said, I'm never going to turn down an opportunity to film here. So hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to start with a little presentation. I don't think I ever showed you guys this, but they have a little model of the entire Zama plant. One of many, because Nissan has a lot. Oh, we're being called. I'll show you guys later on. All right, we're here in the presentation room. I got Scott here from Renown.
What's up?
The whole world is here today.
Just following you around.
you guys look like you're in school.
Feel like we're in class.
Yeah, you just need little tables and a pen. We're gonna get going with the presentation. Hey. Iso-san. I guess you guys know where Iso works now.
This is an entire picture of the Nissan, Nismo, Motorsports history.
All right, we're just about to go in. I always like the dramatic opening of this garage.
I'm gonna have a beard by the time this is
All right, so we have about an hour to kill in here. I think the best thing to do here is for me to just approach the cars that I prefer the most. Like I said, if you want to see a full walkthrough and kind of in-depth video of this place, I'll put a link down in the description to our original video that we did a year back. And I think, yeah, I'm just gonna pick out my favorite cars and kind of ramble on. I hope you enjoy what we do today. And boom, we can only but start here. The 400R is being swamped by everybody wanting to see a glimpse at the RBX GT2. What's up? I love how they've just arranged a nice GT 500 selection of cars here. R35 GTR, the Z33 Nismo team car that actually replaced the R34. So this was the first car that took over from the GTR once the 34 was retired. And of course, this is the car that was at the underground meeting last night. And I think I've said this 1,500 times, but this is my favorite race GTR of all times. This is like the little yellow corner. And of course, the 400R in all its glory. This is actually Nismo's very own car. I believe this is chassis 001 or 000. Let's take a look. The cool thing about this is that it's very, very simple inside. There's only the addition of a shifter and a steering wheel with a 400R1 button and the Nismo logoed seats. I'm pretty sure these are actually R34 carpets. So I'm also going to try and kind of concentrate on the oddities, if you can call them that. But just to kind of show you that Nissan was thinking of a successor to the Z32 in the mid to late 90s, they actually came up with this. This is the Middle Sports. This was pretty much a S15 based concept around K24DE, I believe. And it was basically them thinking, what do we do after the Z32? Eventually ending at the Z33, which came out in 2002, but development of course began probably in 98, 99 to kind of nail in the car, pretty much when Carlos Ghosn took over Nissan with the Renault merger. And the guys from Nismo kindly took out another special Z. This is the Nismo 380 RS. It was kind of a celebration of the Z entering the Super GT series. Special thing about this car, of course, is that it did not run the VQ35, but it had the special VQ38. So an extra 300cc of capacity. And I believe it actually had a twin intake. Maybe we'll take a look at the engine bay on this in a sec. And here we go, so we'll take a look if it has a twin intake or not. I do forget. Yeah, so it was a 3.8.
3.8 liter.
Yeah, but it had the twin intake, right? Because the VQ35 had that weird...
The HR has the twin intake also.
Yeah, so this was before the HR.
Yes.
Yeah.
What number is this? I don't know.
903. I think it was 1,000 that they made. But yeah, cool to be seeing another special Z here. You know, most people concentrate on the GTRs, but you know, the Zs were also very, very important for Nissan. So yeah, like I said, you know, we've covered all these cars before. If you want to go and check out all the details on these, click the link button on the description for the main video we did a year and a bit ago, where you'll see all the crazy stuff like the Penzo R33. Again, this is an Eric Comas car, another winning GT500 car from the late 90s. Something that made the GTR even more of a legendary machine in Japan, and for fans and of course owners, because these cars looked so similar to the street cars that people really enjoyed buying, owning and tuning cars like that. Then we get down to the Formula, the Silhouette Formula Group 4 cars, and of course the iconic Hasemi Tomica sponsored DR30. Something that has obviously inspired a lot of the Silhouette conversion that Liberty Walk does. Kato-san loving this look and pretty much running his whole brand around what these cars were all about in the early to mid 80s. This, of course, is another really special 32. This is the one that was running the Plasma RB26. This was the NA version of the RB in a 4-door R32 shape. So very, very cool. And I think most of these cars have been bought up by Rocky Auto, who took out the engine from these cars and ended up dropping it into a variety of cars that he's created, lots of Zs and Skylines from back in the 70s. And we have the R31 GTS-R, another beautiful classic from 1987. This was not quite a GTR for Nissan, so they kind of opted to go for the GTS-R. Of course, this thing ran the RB28 DET, and well, it's actually a DET-R, turbocharged 2-liter straight six. And if you want to see the best kind of interpretation of these cars in Japan, we gotta go to R31 House, something we need to do very quickly this year, because I did a massive story on R31 House back in the day on Speed Hunters, and not only what they do with R31s is fun, but how they've kind of stockpiled hundreds of cars in the backyard of the shop. So lots to see there. Another shop for 2025 that we need to hit. We have a new 2024 Nismo R35, the final Nismo version of the GTR before it's pulled out of production. And then of course we have another crazy lineup of race cars. And like I said, I'm only gonna hit my favorites, and this of course is the homologation car that made the Le Mans wide body LM version of the 33 GTR possible. Of course, this is another really important and famous car. at least for me, I do respect what Nissan did in the BTCC. The engine setup in this Primera is insanely out of control. Again, you can see that in the main video we did. We did have one of the guys that looks after the collection open it up for us, and we can literally see how that engine sits literally on the ground. There's literally no way you can see the engine, and I've said literally 7,000 times, so literally I will hit stop. And to give a bit of love to the R33, we saw the LM. This is another very, very rare car, the 40th anniversary Autek special 4-door version of the GTR. No 4-door version of other cars in the RB power generation were 4-door. But maybe, I guess we could count the 260 RS Stagia. That was based on the R33 platform. And of course, they did put the RB26 in that. Not really sure why they never did a R34 version of it. I mean, of course, they had the 4-door, which is right here. And they could have really created something special. I guess they needed an anniversary excuse to do something like that and get the budgeting internally. But this is the closest we can get, I guess. I think when most people think of an A31 Zafiro, they kind of imagine a battle-scarred practice drift car or something. But here is a pristine example of one. Of course, this was one of many saloon cars that Nissan offered in the mid-90s, early 90s, late 80s, I guess it would start from there. Yeah, this is a 1988. Cool to see cars like this in such conditions. And I was just actually talking about the Polestar Sunny GTI R with Scott from Renown. Like, when you come to Japan, you just really do not see these cars out on the street anymore. Maybe at some shows. I know I do come across one or two at Weekfest every year, but they've literally just disappeared. I'm assuming most of these cars were shipped out and sold in the UK because they were very, very popular there. And of course, it's basically Nissan's one of very few kind of like 4-wheel drive turbo hatchbacks that they created. Of course, this runs a transversely mounted SR20 up front and a front-wheel drive based 4-wheel drive system, all mechanical, of course, the good old days of very little electronics. This is what we need more of. 2-door off-road SUVs. This is the old school Pathfinder 2-door. Just love the treatment they did on the glass house here at the back. So good. If Nissan is looking to do like a limited edition thing, they should probably come up with something like this. Of course, another rare one. Don't really see too many of these, although I keep saying that and I come across more and more the Varietta version of the S15, of course the drop-top version. If I'm not mistaken, they never did an S14 convertible. They did the 13, but not the 14. And of course, when the 15 came about, they decided to do one. And it was a little bit more pricier than the regular version. Rightly so, because of course they had to develop the whole folding system. But always cool to see these Variettas. And this little grouping of 4 cars is, again, I think where Nissan should be looking towards if they want to kind of refresh their current lineup and come up with something fun, exciting, almost comical. These March-based, so all these cars, the POW and the BE1 and that crazy S-Cargo, they were all based on the March platform, and they just had a bit of fun with it, and they were so popular. They had a boom when they first came out, and then a secondary boom when the whole kind of parallel export market happened in the late 90s, and everybody in the UK went for these cars. I'm pretty sure most of the POWs and the BE1s ended up going to the UK. Okay, I definitely have to show you a few race cars here. Starting off with one of the very last, I think, that really captivated Nissan fans around the world with international racing. Of course, this was the R390 GT1 that was raced at Le Mans. And of course, before it came this one right here. And to get these cars to participate in Le Mans, they had, of course, to get the homologation special done. And this is a very, very special one. This is the only street car ever made. There is one in Europe. Eric Comas actually owns that. That was a race car converted to street use, and one car that I would love to kind of check out up close. So I'm right here at the top of the kind of prototype racing lineup, starting off with the V6 turbo powered cars, kind of merging on to how the progression happened for Nissan, going on to the whole V8 twin turbo lineup. So much gold. Kaisel, what do you think?
My second time here and I'm still as speechless as
Still speechless. Oh, the goodness. The goodness of all these cars. Okay, there's one last car I came down here to see, and it's actually not the GTR version of the Ken Mary KPGC 110 GTR, but the 2000 GT version of it, because this car was offered in this really cool metallic blue, and I'm pretty sure it was this blue that kind of had the Nissan planning guys, you know, when they were kind of developing the R34 GTR, going back towards, you know, back in the day, the history where the GTR came from. They found this color, and I believe this is where the Bayside Blue idea was born. So cool. And it's really interesting because I don't think at the time a lot of 70s cars had kind of these almost pearl metallic blues, so made it even more special. A bit of a nerdy fact for you guys. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed our second visit here on the channel to the Nissan Heritage Collection Hall. Always a pleasure to come here to kind of see the amazing history Nissan has, and you know where they came from, and kind of confusing yourself because, you know, how did a manufacturer that created such greatness, you know, ran and kind of populated by such passionate engineers and mechanics and designers, and you know they ended up struggling once again, just like back in 1999. And you know, hopefully the kind of rumored merger with Honda is going to bring life back to Nissan. You can only pray for that. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed the video, and make sure you check back soon for more. Hit us up on Patreon, and of course check out the dinodc.co shop for all the merch. Thanks again for the support, and check back soon for more.